In a world of boundary-spanning crises, the European Union plays a key management role. But we lack a full understanding of what capacities its institutions and agencies bring to the table. This study came in 3 parts. The first part looked at the crisis management capacity of the European Commission. We used data from predominantly primary sources and drew on the 7 key tasks for transboundary crisis management in order to assess capacities. We identified that the European Commission has a high capacity for detection and sense-making. In recent years, these capacities have witnessed considerable growth across the different directorates of the European Commission. This is perhaps not totally surprising. Improving detection of threats and hazards is a relatively easy thing in political terms. But this finding does raise important questions for the future. What is the larger effect of these increased capacities of detection and sense-making? Is this a system that identifies threats without actually being able to manage them? Do these capacities identify some threats rather than others, and do they lead to decisions that would otherwise not be made? The second part of our study looked at political leadership in EU agencies. In recent times, the EU has created over 30 agencies, and these are supervised at arm's length by the EU and have significant political autonomy. But who governs them, and how much power do they have? To what extent do they take on leadership roles in managing transboundary crises? To find out the answers, we ran a survey of leaders across these agencies, focusing on 4 that were involved in transboundary crisis management between 2011 and 2015. Overall, we found that the agencies responded well to the demands made by European institutions and member states, although in several cases they had no clear mandate to do so. In all cases, these agencies did prove to be an important link between the Commission and the Member States as coordinating nodes of expert knowledge, bringing coherence to the governance of crises in the EU. The third part of this study focused on the European Parliament. How does the European Parliament hold executives of institutions at the Member State level to account for implementing policies to tackle the effects of transboundary crises? We explored formal accountability mechanisms in place towards the European Parliament in economic and financial legislation, as well as less formal or de facto methods of accountability in the form of public hearings. Our findings indicated that the European Parliament has a limited role in terms of economic governance, but has gained formal account-holding powers. These powers allow an important economic dialogue to take place between the European Parliament and national finance ministers. However, in reality, there is considerable scope for making a more active use of this dialogue. Click on a link to explore another of our research topics.